Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. This one is players to buy, where we have a look at 5 or 6 players that you should be considering bringing into your FPL teams for game week 12. So let's get into it. Okay, the first player we're looking at is Virgil van Dijk. Now, the Liverpool fixtures from game week 12 onwards are a joke, as you can see at the bottom left of the screen. Nottingham Forest at home up next in game week 12. Now, Nottingham Forest, obviously last season, were incredible. They've started this season absolutely terribly. However, last weekend, they did look like they found something a little bit. Sean Dyche has now been in charge for a few weeks, and he looks to have got a little bit out of that team. Not so much defensively, I guess, yet, but that will come. But more going forward, the likes of Gibbs White, the likes of Igor Jesus, they all look like they're kind of clicking, and Elliot Anderson. However, this still is a good fixture for Liverpool. Liverpool haven't been playing great, obviously. They've kept 1 clean sheet in their last 6 games. In fact, they've lost 5 of those 6 games. So it's really not good for Liverpool. But they do have the fixtures to turn it round, as you can see. Forest at home, West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Leeds away, Brighton at home. You can't really get a much better stretch of fixtures than that. You could maybe throw Wolves and Burnley in there. However, this stretch is unbelievable. West Ham have picked up a little bit of form of late. Sunderland isn't an easy game. However, it is at Anfield, so that is a little bit better. Leeds, Brighton, both okay fixtures. Now, the one problem we've got is that, like I say, Van Dijk and Liverpool haven't looked on it at the moment. We can see by these numbers as well, these are attacking numbers, of course. 0 goals, 0 assists. You're not going to expect loads of numbers from a centre-back here, obviously. But he has had 2 big chances, and we will see a goal or 2 from Van Dijk. We saw it the weekend against Man City. He had 1 ruled out. Not only that, but it's pretty hard to pick other players from Liverpool at the moment. We're not going to be wanting to triple up in the attack, that's for sure. We'll talk about a Liverpool attacker in a second, but we definitely won't want to be tripled up on their attack. So Virgil van Dijk seems like the safest play in defence. Now you could go Alisson because he seems like he's going to be back soon. You could also go for Konate if you wanted, or potentially Conor Bradley at the moment. Frimpong is going to be out for a little bit. He will be back soon though. So I think Virgil van Dijk is probably the safest option for you if you want to go for a Liverpool defender. Okay, so the next player is one that I kind of just mentioned. It's a Liverpool attacker, and it's Nunes O'Reilly. 6.6 million. And I think that he probably is the Liverpool mid/forward that you want to go for if you're going to go for one. And I think you probably should, because the fixtures, like I say, are incredible. They're actually better for an attacker than they are a defender, because Forest found something going forward a little bit. West Ham have found something going forward over the last few weeks. Sunderland, we've seen, caused problems for Arsenal. Leeds don't look too bad going forward, and Brighton are scoring goals at the moment. So I do think it's worth going for a Liverpool attacker, even if you're not going to get a defender. Now, picking a Liverpool attacker is pretty tough though. Salah is just not living up to his price tag at the moment. We can't be spending 14.5 million on Salah at the moment, I don't think. Gakpo was an option at the start of the season. He hasn't started the last 2 games though. He didn't start against Madrid, he didn't start against City. That is slightly worrying, especially because at the start of the season we saw that he kind of was their best attacker. It looked like Arne Slot just really, really liked him. I remember watching that Man United fixture. He stayed on for 90 minutes when all of the other attackers came off at some point, even Salah. And he had so many chances. I think he hit the post 3 times. He scored. He missed a glaring header at the end. So Gakpo did look like a really good option. Not so much now though, because I think the minutes are a worry. Up front, we can't really go to either Ekitike or Isak because we have no idea who's going to start there. And we can't go Wirtz because he has been useless. I think that Nunes O'Reilly is probably the way to go. His numbers aren't incredible, don't get me wrong. 6 shots in the box in 11 games isn't great. However, he is getting good DEFCON as well. The one problem we've got is that we don't really know where he's going to play. Sometimes he's been playing in the 10. Sometimes he's been playing in the double pivot with Gravenberch. Sometimes he's even been playing right back, which again might be good for his defensive contributions, but not so great for his attacking returns. I don't think you're going to get haul after haul from him, but if we want a piece of that Liverpool attack, I think Szoboszlai is probably the place to go. Okay, coming off of Liverpool now and moving on to Manchester United. Probably the in-form team right now in the league. They have been a joke going forward over the last few weeks, especially against Spurs. They look so good. Cunha, since he's come back from that small injury he had, hasn't necessarily been playing 90 minutes every week. However, I don't think we need to worry about that anymore. Obviously, in this video last week, we talked about Mbeumo. I brought him into my team. I hope you guys did as well, because he looks fantastic. However, what we saw at the weekend was Cunha played really well for starters. He started up front with Mbeumo one side, Ahmad the other. Not only that, Sesko went off injured. If that injury is bad for Sesko, then Cunha, his minutes look great after that. You'd like to think that he would be the one playing up front if Sesko is out, given that that's where he started in the last game. Not only that, but in 4 or so weeks, Bryan Mbeumo goes to the African Cup of Nations. So again, during that period, Cunha's minutes will be much better because they're without another one of their players. So Cunha's minutes should be good now. I'd expect him to get more 90s. I'd expect him to start every game. And we know how good these fixtures are. If you look at the bottom left again, Everton, Crystal Palace is average, although they are shipping goals, so can't complain with that. West Ham, great fixture. Wolves, unbelievable fixture. Bournemouth at home as well. And then a couple of weeks later, I think it might be game week 18 or 19, they play Wolves again, Wolves at home. So the fixtures, even after these 5, are still really, really good. And game week 16, I believe, is when Mbeumo goes to the African Cup of Nations. So I think if you are going to buy a Man United attacker, you still probably go Mbeumo right now because we get so many transfers around African Cup of Nations that you can transfer him out again. However, I actually really like the idea of doubling up on their attack, given that their attack is one of the best in the league right now and they have some of the best fixtures. So I think people should be looking at Cunha as well. Right, moving on to forwards now. And forwards are pretty hard to pick right now. Obviously, everyone's got Erling Haaland. Mateta is then the next best option. After that, it's Thiago or no one, to be honest. There are pretty much no other good forwards right now. Maybe Voltemada. He's not really doing loads at the moment. I think Thiago is just the one to go for it. 6.3 million. By the time you're watching this video, or by the deadline, he's probably gone up to 6.4, maybe even 6.5. But 8 goals in 11 games is outrageous. And he's getting great minutes now as well. Shots, again, brilliant. He's having over 2 shots a game. Shots on target, he's having over 1 a game. Shots in the box is outrageous as well. XG is great. Big chances, 1 a game. Over 1 a game, in fact. For his price, he is a joke. Now, the fixtures aren't great. You can see down here, they're a bit of a mixed bag. Brighton away is okay. Burnley at home, great. Arsenal away, Spurs away. Arsenal away is not ideal. Spurs away seems okay right now. And then Leeds at home is okay. So you're not going to want to necessarily play him in every game, although I think you probably can. We've seen that he can even do it against the bigger teams. So I don't think we need to worry about starting him in those tough fixtures. However, if you're going for a 3 up top situation where you've got Mateta, Haaland and Thiago, maybe you can afford to bench him in these games anyway. So if you're looking for a third striker, it's pretty obviously Thiago. Okay, and lastly, we're looking at some other defenders because the template for defenders has been pretty set for a while now. But I think these two could shake things up. In defence, you've probably got a Palace defender. You've probably got Senesi. You've probably got Gabriel. You've maybe even got a second Arsenal. You've probably got a Sunderland defender. Maybe Anderson. It's kind of template a little bit. However, if you want to take some risks, then I think that these City defenders are really good. They've looked a bit more assured defensively. And these two seem to have good minutes, to be honest. Once Kusanov comes back, I think that Matthias Nunes' minutes may take a little bit of a hit, although he's played so well in that position this season that maybe they just won't, and maybe he'll just start every game. And he probably should, to be honest. You can see here he's played 9 out of 11. His attacking numbers aren't as good, however, as O'Reilly's. And I do think that O'Reilly is more nailed in that position. The problem is, we may see Gvardiol play out there. I do think it's best when Man City play Diaz and Gvardiol as centre-backs, then O'Reilly as a full-back, because he is actually really, really good at getting forward. He's cheaper than Matthias Nunes. 8 Nuri is obviously a problem for him here as well. O'Reilly has played 10 games. 8 Nuri is still out at the moment. He will also go to the African Cup of Nations. So from game week 16, O'Reilly's minutes look good. He's actually playing at a level where you probably can't drop him anyway. So I think if you're going to go there, you go for him because, as you can see from the numbers as well, the XG is better. Shots in the box 7 is pretty decent for a defender. Shots, all the numbers are better for O'Reilly and he's cheaper. So I think at 4.9 million, he isn't a bad option. Now that is all for this one. If you liked the video, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.